NFL. It's almost time for the big game, and we got you covered.
Finish is the only thing that's on our minds right now.
Ocho is on assignment in the NO. And Coach's game plan is all about how the Chiefs always deliver in the biggest moments.
I know we keep talking about Kelsey. You got to know where this guy is in the red area and in critical situations.
Hey, you see us? Yes. The one and only Gilly, Philadelphia's own. He leading them out. Yes. Going on to the field. Talking to Kenneth Gainwell, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, Quinyon Mitchell. Yes. Jalen Carter. Yes. And Gilly. Yes. The King.
Yes. Yes. We going back. We going back. How y'all fellas feeling today?
Man, feeling good, man. Welcome to the show,
Coach,
Inside the NFL.
It's a pleasure, Coach. Legend.
Well, listen.
Broke my heart before, Coach. Not gonna lie, you did. But we're back.
All right, Gilly. So we're going into a big week now.
Yes.
You've been there before.
Yes.
You've won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
You've lost Super Bowls.
Yes.
How you feeling going into this game?
I feel very confident because I feel like the defense is on another level. They tough, smart, fast, and physical. Everybody runs to the ball. Nobody gives up on plays. And we know what our identity is. We're not a pretty team. We're a gritty team. Mm-hmm. Jalen Carter, nobody can block you. I don't care if they bring an alien down from outer space. He cannot block you. Saquon, what are we talking about? Your life has changed since you came over here to the Philadelphia Eagles. Just continue to do what you do. And Coach Nick Sirianni, just be yourself. Love you guys.
And that is how you start a show on Super Bowl week.
Yes.
Gilly, appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Love you guys. A-G-L-E-S,
Well, guys, that is one way to start a show. Chris, so many people want to get into the mind of a football player. You've won 2 Super Bowls. You know what this week is like. Talk a little bit about what these guys are going through right now.
You're doing everything in your power to insulate yourself from everything around you, which is really tough. And I can imagine being a coach and having a bunch of guys on your team, 23 years old, that get to that city and every night it's a different party. It's a different person asking about tickets. I mean, there are organizational parties you have to attend some nights when you're trying to watch film and get your work done. I just remember getting to Houston when we were there and going up in the hotel and sitting in the room, and I didn't feel alone. Mm-hmm. I never felt alone the whole week. You hear people in the lobby, you hear people outside. You can't get out to an Uber to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. There's helicopters overhead. It really is about trying to focus and keep things as normal as possible, but you're in a totally abnormal situation.
The most important thing is to learn how to say no. You just can't do it all. And so, and from a coaching standpoint, it's tough because Kansas City and Philadelphia played each other recently, but when you look back on a full season, you have, call it over 1,000 plays on offense and on defense. You only have 60 in the game, so you have to try to boil it down. Otherwise, you end up as a coach and the team, you can have paralysis by analysis. You got so much information that it's just too much.
I think the coolest thing about it for me was that it wasn't a normal week. And not in the standpoint or from the standpoint of it being comfortable, but I was like, wait, no, there is a media day because this is the Super Bowl.
Right.
And man, I'm an undrafted guy. And so, man, they're walking me out to the first media day, and it was different then, and they gave me a booth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, wait, enough people want to talk to me where y'all going to sit me up there? And it was like one of those moments for me. I was like, no, this is different, but it's something we all earned the opportunity to do.
It's just an unbelievable blessing to come from where I had to come from last year and for God to put me in this position. I mean, I even got a podium.
Probably won 35 games in St. Louis the first 8 years of my career. Probably 35. I mean, it was like the games didn't happen. And then you get to the Super Bowl, and somebody from Tokyo is asking you questions.
Yes.
Like, that to me was when I was like, oh, wow.
There's so many people in here just to hear us talk to the media. It's crazy. Like, that's respect.
I more remember the things that people said leading up that stuck in my head. I remember Rob Ninkovich told me, if you lose this game, you're going to wish you were never there. You're going to wish you went 0-16. And when we were down 28-3, I was like, I looked at Rob on the damn sideline and said, well, what did you say last week? But that's what it's all about. Your life changes forever.
Coach, you said, and you talk to your team a lot about ignoring the outside distractions, ignoring the outside noise, but we have a clip, Coach, where you were making sure they knew exactly what was going on the outside.
Let me just read you a little something here. I thought this was kind of interesting. First, I couldn't believe it, but it's actually true. Talking about the Philadelphia parade after the game. All right, it's 11 o'clock in case any of you want to attend that. It's going to go from Broad Street up to Washington Avenue, past City Hall, then down to Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and we'll end up at the Art Museum. Do your job. Do your job. Just take care of your assignment. Know what it is, execute it, and get it taken care of.
The Super Bowl isn't usually a game you need more motivation for, but when a team plans their parade before the game, I think that's enough motivation to let you know they're already expecting to win. What was the reaction to you telling your team that the Philadelphia Eagles had already planned their parade?
Well, hopefully it was, we're not going to let that parade happen.
Yeah,
ignore the noise, unless the noise helps us.
And you know, I'm imagining sitting in that meeting, and I got pissed off as if I was on team when I watched that video.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that was masterful by you, Coach. We finally got to hit that parade route, but it was a lot later. I wonder if it was the same route that they had stored for 14, 15 years.
I remember, so I think it's Wednesday, Coach, and it's kind of raining. We're practicing at South Florida. And so we're picking the football off, and guys are like punting the ball or pick the football off and spike it or throw it. This is the last week. We're taking pictures at practice. You know, at this point, we're #1 defense in the NFL. And you've been around Coach LeBeau. You know Coach LeBeau is soft-spoken, cool, chill. And he gets in the meeting the next morning, and he's ripping us. And he's consistently telling us, like, he's showing every turnover at practice how we're not transitioning to offense, how people aren't blocking, how the dude that's catching the football isn't running. And he shows us all those things. And so Thursday, Friday, even Saturday at walkthrough, that was an emphasis for us. And fast forward to that, the Arizona Cardinals on the goal line, James Harrison's supposed to blitz in zero coverage, and he pops out and catches the football. And if you watch that play, everybody on that team and everybody on our field got a block except for Troy, and that's because he was on the other side of the field. Some people got 2 blocks. And I just remember that because it was something that Coach LeBeau came in and put an emphasis on Thursday morning because he saw we weren't practicing, he saw we weren't doing it, and he felt like it'd make a difference in the game. And it ends up being one of the biggest defensive plays in Super Bowl history. And so, like, that's the one thing that sticks out to me, that a coaching point from that week helped us win the game. One
of the things we did in 2014 in Arizona was because it had been a while since we'd been in a Super Bowl, we said, okay, we're going to take the full, 37-minute halftime break. So we went out and practiced for, we'll call it 45 minutes, and then came back in, and we sat in there for 37 minutes and said, okay, here's what we're going to do at halftime, and here's how long it is, so you can feel it. And, it's 13 minutes. And now it's 37. It's 3 times as long. And so I just felt like that kind of helped us prepare for just the timing of the game, because it's a long game. It's an over 4-hour game, and normally it's 3. It's easy, honestly, to burn out a lot of energy with anxiety and just, tension and all that before the game's really even started.
No, absolutely. And I love the fact that you did mention, though, Coach, it's those little details that lead to championship, and it's why you were the best to ever do it. And I know we're missing somebody, but somehow and some way equal the amount of Gatorade baths you've had, Coach. But please tell us where this all started.
It all started back with the Giants, and, there's no better feeling than having that Gatorade dumped on you. It's chilling, but there's no better feeling. We're back in 1984, Week 9 against the Redskins. Big win for us during the regular season, and players just kind of got, got an idea of like, hey, let's just dump some Gatorade on Parcells, and it was a big win, so everybody's happy, and, always nice to, throw stuff to the head coach.
Yeah.
So then you can go with the double team block here. So we got Carson and Casey Merrill And there they go. One orange.
One water to
plain
wash it off, Coach.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Parcells.
Oh, yeah.
I miss that citrus cooler.
Yeah.
I miss citrus cooler.
So after a while, Parcells is kind of catching on to, the wins. So Harry Carson, our team captain, had a little disguise here. Nobody would recognize
And nobody
Harry.
recognized him.
No, nobody
Looking like a
would see
big
him.
Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. And there it is.
They know it's
Won't let him
coming.
get away. Yeah, Landetta, you can see single bar face mask here, right? See this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want Bert, Taylor, and Pepper. You want them surrounding them, and then Sean, move out of the way.
I almost feel like if you're a coach and you don't get the Gatorade bath, you feel slighted.
Kind of offended.
Yeah, you should be like, so wait, y'all not gonna throw no Gatorade on me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No.
Taylor's talking to me, asking me about, something or other. And I got all distracted, and he grabbed me, and I got killed. Parcells is catching on at this point. 1986, so this is the conference championship the week after they nailed me after the 49er game. And now it's Parcells against Carson. Who's your money on here?
Coach, that's a great jump cut by Parcells, though.
He
didn't have a second move.
That's pretty good.
There's Landetta. There's Landetta.
Landetta's like, I'm going to contribute.
Well, he's the one guy that doesn't have to run in practice, so he can do whatever he wants to coach.
So here he got a new disguise. He's got the security guard on now.
Yeah, a little more inconspicuous.
He already knows it's coming. It
Oh, he
doesn't
definitely
matter
knows
what
it's
you
coming.
dress up as. Y'all got everybody.
Yeah, it was kind of our thing.
So we have one more clip that we like to show you, and this is actually your first ever Gatorade bath right here. It's a small bucket.
Wow, that's
For a big man. And Coach, you didn't. Coach, I love it though. You turned around slow, like you didn't understand what was happening.
yeah. They're like, what is going on my right shoulder here? That is
Not even phased.
His hands were on his hip.
Hey, not
the
even
whole
phased.
time, dude.
That's how a real man takes a Gatorade
that's
bath.
exactly
Yeah, you got to take it like a man.
To have those moments with your players, though, what is that feeling like to go out and win that way and have them celebrate with you in that manner?
Nothing like it. It's so special.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You spend the whole year working to get to a final goal and then to actually achieve it. There's just no way to put it into words how special it is. You never forget those moments.
I love it. Listen, one day, though, that guy who got his first Gatorade bath then will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And when we come up, we'll discuss the finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. It's long overdue that somebody would have been like, you know what, guys, this might be an oversight.
Yeah.
Maybe we should make sure Ralph Hay is remembered and like for giving me a job and giving me an opportunity. Coach, we were talking too, though, about how much winning goes into the Hall of Fame and being on teams with a ton of success. What do you think are the characteristics of people who belong with Gold Jackets?
Look, I think that the truly great players have a lot to do with winning. Their leadership, bringing out the best in their teammate. It's not just their play, but it's also, the fact that they're part of elevating their team to championships. Eli Manning, played great in 2 Super Bowls, and that's why they have 2 championships, and I think you got to recognize that.
I remember when Troy was selecting, but I think about being his teammate for all of those years, I never heard him speak about it one time.
Yeah.
And in having a conversation with him about Super Bowls, he talked about winning the 3rd one, and he was like, if we wouldn't have lost to Green Bay, that would have been 3 Super Bowls for the core of that team. And he's like, and I feel like if we win 3 and we're looked at as a dynasty, maybe more of us would get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And so I think about those players, and it's what you said too, Coach. It's not just about who you are as a player, but who you are as a leader and a man on that team.
Yeah, Troy helped that team win Super Bowls. 2 players here that really deserve to be talked about, I think, are Willie Anderson, who is a great tackle for Cincinnati. And then, Maxie Vaughn. Maxie Vaughn was a life of football. Was he a Hall of Fame player? I don't know. He was really good. Was he a Hall of Fame coach? I don't know, but he was really good. It's kind of like guys who were lifers in the NFL, both as players and coaches. But when you add them both together,
they belong.
It's a lifetime.
Yes, sir.
It's a lifetime in the NFL. It kind of like Dick LeBeau.
Yeah, and I think you look at 2 players on this list, Fred Taylor and Steve Smith. senior, like who are two players I truly respected, just the way that they played the game, the way you had to prepare for them. You know, Steve Smith played in Carolina, he played in Baltimore, and he was one of those players. You understood the attitude that he was going to bring from the wide receiver, the position, the fact that he was going to fight the entire game, make big plays, yards after the catch. And then, too, with Fred, that sort of explosion from the running back position at that size and what he could do with the football in the open field. But I feel like all of these people are so deserving.
I just got to shout out Torrey Holt. I don't think we mentioned Torrey yet. I got to play with him for a hiccup in St. Louis, and Torrey Holt was an incredible vet to have around, but just an insane football player, uber competitive.
Bro, you know who I think about preparing for on this list? Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
And I remember, like watching film on him and going, he's moving so slow.
Smooth and
you know what I mean? I was like, there's no way he just keeps getting open and keeps catching touchdowns. And then you get on the field with him, and it was just subtle enough movements, coach, to put you on his hip or to put you on his back, and then he'd body you and catch the football. And I used to always just be pissed off about it because I was like, this dude's a hooper. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's not supposed to be able to do that. But it does tell you, like, just how players come in all shapes, all sizes, all different skill sets. And so when I look at this list, it's not about saying who belongs and who doesn't.
Celebrate them.
Right? Celebrate all these players for what they were. And, like, there's going to be a lot of conversation around Eli Manning. I think, at least in my opinion, he is a Hall of Famer. Right, it's going to be the conversation, should he be a first ballot? Should he be a second ballot? I don't know about any of those things, but I know there were 2 runs to the Super Bowl that, yes, Steve Spagnuolo's defense was top tier, but Eli Manning made huge plays. Yeah. He made huge throws, and those are the things you...
Yeah, I can't tell
My bad, coach.
But I mean, that makes it all the more impressive.
Yeah.
Like, being able to beat them. Yeah. I mean, I just remember him being a big game guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about, right?
He played great in big games.
Yeah, and also look at this, Sterling Sharpe. Yes. You know, it was a career cut short by injury, but, man, it was a hell of a career.
I don't think people understand how good he was.
They don't. You know, he won the Triple Crown in an era that had prime Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's how good Sterling Sharpe is. And it's really kind of cool that his brother has such a platform now, because Shannon consistently says how he feels like his brother belongs in the Hall of Fame along with him.
For me, I just wish that there was some kind of criteria that was a minimum standard of, like, here's what the player has to do. And if we want to make an exception to that because this player got injured or this player didn't have the stats because he's on a poor team or whatever, we can make an exception. But have a minimum standard. I think now we're in a case where, well, this guy's in and this guy's a little better than that guy, so he should be in.
Yes, Coach.
And I don't really think that's the way to do it. I wish there was some kind of a benchmark.
Well, and it's also hard to compare eras.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. I mean, even if you're doing accolades, it's hard because, like, back in the day, Pro Bowl was not fan voted. And now it feels like it's just whoever.
Whatever era you're in, if you feel like the player dominated in that era, then put them up there for conversation, like we talked about.
Yeah, I tell you, I was talking to a guy that's actually in the Hall of Fame, and he was like, you know, man, he's like, I just wish you put together a group of peers of guys who've played and guys who coaches, and you walked in that room and you said a name. He's like, if I walked in this room and said Barry Sanders, would all of us raise our hand and say he's a Hall of Famer? And we were like, hell yeah. He's like, if I walked in this room and said Randy Moss, would all of us raise our hands? And we was like, hell yeah. He's like, see, that's the way that it should go. And so obviously the criteria is what it is, but all of these men had amazing careers. And I tell you what, someday somebody's going to walk into a room full of people, whether it's a committee, players, or coaches, and they're going to say Bill Belichick, and everybody in that room is going to raise their hand and say that he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Great football coach and the football guy. And coming back, we'll name our football guy of the week. But before we break, let's enjoy our final Ocho Predicto, the caboose at 5. Since Chad's not here this week,
we're going to have a high draft pick next year.
You're going to have a very high draft pick, as in first draft pick, the way it seems. Since Chad's not here, Coach, because he's in New Orleans, I'm going to go first. Chris, you'll go. And then Chad taped his football guy for us last week. And so I thought to myself, it's a football guy. You know, I play with Hall of Famers, but do we want to go there? Do we want to take it out of the essence of what a football guy is? And then I thought, what position truly makes you feel football guy. And in a 3-4 defense, it's the nose tackle. And I'm not talking about the starting nose tackle. I'm talking about the backup nose tackle, Chris Hoke. And we called him Hokey Bro. You know why? Because he lied a lot. And every time you asked him a question, he started out with, bro, just so he could figure out how in the hell he was going to answer you. And I love that. But I will say this. In 2008, when we had #1 defense in the league, Casey Hampton got hurt. So Hokey started a ton of games for us that season. He played extremely well. That's a football guy. Put the work in. You don't get any of the glory, but in the end, you know you're a big reason why we took home that ring.
I like it. Although football guys don't lie, Ryan. I'll just say this. I could have picked a number of guys from St. Louis. You knew you had to be a football guy to, in all seriousness, to play on some of those teams. But I'm going to go with Danny Amendola. And not because you know him and not because you coached him, because I played on a great team with him and I played on terrible teams with him. And he was the same damn guy. And he beat me in the Gator Bowl in 2008. And for that, I hated the guy. Never met him. He went on Hard Knocks. I watched him in my hotel room on TV, and I said, you know, he doesn't seem that bad. I hope he makes the team.
You've given it all away from the day you walked out here. I know you'll improve and get better, and so if this thing works out, we want you on the practice squad.
Sounds great.
He doesn't make the team. He packs his truck up with evidently everything he had in a garbage bag and drove to St. Louis. And next thing you know, he walks into the room, drops that Gator Bowl bag in the locker right next to me. And I said, this head. We became really close friends. We did a lot off the field, but he was one of those guys that when you went out to battle with him, you knew he was going to give it everything he had. You asked like what the consummate football guy position. I think it's Caucasian slot receiver. Okay, but I just want to say this. 617 receptions, 6,000 yards receiving, 24 touchdowns, 5,400 return yards, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and just a dude, man. I love this guy like a brother. Whether he wins or not, to me, I just want to shout him out. That's Danny Amendola right there.
Yeah, and also, too, football guys don't need stats from Josh. But we'll also tap in with Ocho Cinco, who made his pitch for his football guy before this week.
I'm going to actually guarantee a win. I'm probably going to win again and probably tie this thing up with you, Ryan. But my football guy is a legend. He's an icon in Cincinnati, one of the best right tackles to ever play this game. He goes by the name of Willie Anderson. Willie Anderson. So I'm going to read you some stats from one of the greatest right tackles of all time and one of my best friends. All right? 2022 inducted to the Bengals Ring of Honor. 2025 Pro Football Hall of Fame finalist. Absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Gave up 15 sacks in 13 years. Willie Anderson, you're one of the greatest of all time. It's been a long time coming. You deserve your flowers. And you deserve them while you're still here and you can smell them.
All right, Coach, you get the pick.
Well, tough one. Tough one again. You guys make it so hard on me. It's just so difficult.
He dreads this.
I do, because two people are unhappy. And
well, Chad's not here, Coach, so just one.
I know, but that's the one I'm going to pick. So I got to go with Willie Anderson.
Yes! It's a ball game, Ryan.
Are we?
You thought you had it in the bag. I'll do it for you.
Are we serious?
Woo! Do you know what it means to be a football guy?
Are we serious?
You can be a Hall of Famer and be a football guy.
But you can't, though. You can't.
Woo!
This Willie Anderson's well known.
We got a ball game, folks.
I need better rules.
As long as he didn't win, I win. I'm with you, Chad.
This is a bull crap. Game plan with Bill Belichick presented by Infinity. Coach, we've already talked about that Kansas City offense and some of the things that they could do leading up to the final game of the season. What do you want to talk about?
The final minute.
Yeah.
The final minute, how good they've been in gotta-have-it situations. You know, it goes back to before this, but let's go to the 2021 AFC divisional game against Buffalo. Buffalo's got a 3-point lead with 13 seconds to go in the game. They hit a quick pass to Tyreek. He gains 19 yards. They're up to the 44 with a timeout. 8 seconds. Need to get into field goal range. They still have one timeout left. Buffalo loads up over here on the 3-receiver side. Kelsey's able to come up the seam here. Mahomes sees it right off the bat, hits him, gets the ball down to the 31-yard line. and puts them in field goal range and gives Butker a chance to tie it up. 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Takes it into overtime. Kelsey and Hill are over here together. They're two best receivers. Buffalo's playing their quarters coverage, kind of what you would expect down here. And so somebody's going to get doubled. They're either going to double Kelsey and single Hill, or double Hill and single Kelsey, which is what they do here. There's Kelsey matched up against Milano, the linebacker, and it gives him a little double move, a little shake move there. Great throw, great catch. I know we keep talking about Kelsey. He keeps showing up. You got to know where this guy is in the red area and in critical situations. And these guys are just so good at situational football. The next year against Cincinnati, scores tied. Kansas City can get a stop and get the ball back. You know, they might have a chance. I don't like this protection. Cincinnati slides the whole line here away from Chris Jones and away from Adeniji. Jones makes the sack.
That's jaw-dropping. Like, I can't even. I cannot.
To the one-on-one on that side.
I understand the numbers. I understand, you know, they're aligning to get this, but it's ridiculous. He's such a mismatch.
Whether it's offense, defense, special teams, Kansas City's had a great knack of making those big plays at the right time. Super Bowl against the Eagles, fourth quarter, key play in the game. Jordan Davis probably won't be in there.
Why is he? Yeah, why is it that coach? Thank you. You know, you might as well not have a balance up guy. Yeah. And that's no offense to this massive human being. He's not quick enough.
And then, you know, it's just a heads-up play here. With minute 48 to go, get down, get in position to kick the field goal. Don't give the Eagles a chance to get the ball back. Just a good situational football team. Super Bowl against the 49ers, 3rd down and 4. Chris, I know you love this play.
Love it.
Another big stop by Kansas City. Here comes the pressure. No surprise to see Spags pressure in critical situations.
But another time, Chris, where they don't pick up Chris Jones. I mean, they just let him go free.
Football's hard enough. Right? It's hard enough when you don't pick up Chris Jones in the biggest snap of the game. It's just they wait for these teams to make these mistakes.
Yeah.
But the other teams keep making them, and Kansas City doesn't make too many of them. They're there to capitalize on it. So, really, the play of the game last week against Buffalo, 4th and 1 sneak.
I can't.
Chris is still mad about that spot.
I think this spot was tough, but I get it. As the week's gone on, I understand.
But it really comes back down to some basic fundamentals here. It's a quarterback sneak out here. The tight end's off the ball, laid off the ball on the backside, so some penetration back here, and then the off tight end can't really, you know, generate any power or leverage on Bolden, and you know, Bolden's right there to make the play. I mean, just, like, I'd say get up on the ball and block them.
I used to watch Ed Reed and try to watch his film, and I say to myself, I feel like the quarterbacks are just throwing the ball to this guy. Then I realized it was weeks of study, preparation, and showing up and executing in the moment, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, do so well.
And, well, it's a tight call, but...
Is it ever? That's tough.
It's tough.
That's tough.
I agree.
And then, you know, again, a critical play here. Kansas City gets the ball down to the red area. You know, they go with the inverted wishbone formation here. Read zone. Mahomes pulls it. He's got two guys in front. Another good play here by Kelsey. You know, out in front. He's got a choice to make here. Who's the most dangerous man? You know, he takes a safety. Mahomes follows him. And Mahomes is a stronger runner than people give him credit for.
They didn't call this play one time this season. You know, saw a team like the Baltimore Ravens utilize it. You go back to Kareem Hunt's touchdown early on in the game, same formation. He actually gives the ball late in the game. You pull it, get into the end zone. Kansas City Chiefs always a step ahead in preparation and execution, and that's another example.
You remember he ran over Mustafa this year?
Yeah, against San Francisco.
I mean, not to single my guy out, because he's a hard-hitting dude.
Though.
He is usually the hammer.
Yeah.
And then to end the game, 4th and 5 with 2 minutes to go. Buffalo's in 5-man protection. They pick up the big guys. They pick up the 5 linemen. The weak safety in the corner come free. Great call by Spags to bring this pressure here from the weak side and to get right in Allen's face, not let him scramble. Got to be ready to stop Allen from scrambling and running the ball in this situation. They take that away from him. And, you know, there's not much Allen can do here. He makes a terrific play to try to fade away from the rush and somehow finds Kincaid down the field. They just can't convert it.